Dear friends, we are beginning our journey together to peace is the way for a more just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world. Today I'm in Malmo, Sweden, talking about the nature of reality and the awakened life. Only the awakened life can ultimately create a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world. I would like you to periodically log on to choprafoundation.org and also to www.neveralone.love as we create our global sanghas for peace and social economic justice, sustainability, health, and most importantly, joy. So let's begin our journey. We have already begun. Um, what we call war in the world, what we call terrorism in the world, is a projection in many ways of our collective consciousness. I would say not in many ways, in all ways, is a projection of our collective consciousness. In my book, Peace is the Way, I argue that war is a habit we have grown addicted to. War has grown a groove in our minds so that when we become afraid or very angry, the response of war comes naturally. We reach for war collectively, the way a chain smoker reaches for a cigarette, muttering all the while that we have to quit. I believe that this addiction to violence and war is rooted in a number of illusions, including the myth of us versus them. By the way, that just reminds me, I'm also going to start a course on the Bhagavad Gita, which is the ultimate manual on war. But the war is within ourselves, with our own shadows. And so I'm going to do a course on the Bhagavad Gita, and you'll hear about it here when I start it. But that course will be how to vanquish our own inner demons. In any case, war is rooted in a number of illusions, and number one of them is us versus them. There's no them. Everything that we call them is a projection of our own demons, of our own shadows. So this myth that us versus them is the reality, which it is not. It's the myth. It's based on the belief that our country or our nation is superior to all others, and that we are justified in using violence to protect our interests. I will ask you to challenge the notion that war is necessary to maintain peace. In fact, I will argue that violence and instability are perpetuated by war. The only way to create peace is to practice peace within yourself, to become an embodiment of peace yourself. This means cultivating a mindset of compassion and understanding for all people. I believe that we can overcome our addiction to war only when we see ourselves as part of a global community rather than as members of separate competing nations. So I don't think we can convince our leaders to look at this way, but if we are the change we want to see in the world, and we have a critical mass of people in ahimsa. Ahimsa means peace presence. It's a yogic practice. Patanjali says when we are perfectly established in peace consciousness, all beings around us cease to feel hostility. Even animals, even other species. That's why we see photos or paintings or pictures of animals and lions and tigers and antelopes and gazelles all sitting quietly next to a rishi. So, as we pursue our practice every day on peace is the way to a more just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world, I will share with you the education we need to understand the true costs of war. I will share with you practices of nonviolence in our own lives. I will share with you how we can support organizations that are working to promote peace and social and economic justice. And I will share with you meditations on peace, compassion, equanimity, and joy. I will keep reminding you that peace is not just the absence of war, it is the presence of justice, love, and compassion. And I believe, and I will hope that you will share this belief, that it is possible to create a more peaceful world, but only if we are willing to change our ways and embrace a new way of thinking. So, onward with this, and I will also share with you when the course on practical Vedanta for daily living is available through the Chopra Foundation, and it will be based on the 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. In the meanwhile, peace and prosperity to you, and most importantly, joy as the only measure of success and the only measure of well being. Thank you, my friends. Let me know your thoughts on this campaign, global movement to create a critical mass for a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world. God bless.